So, welcome to Himalayan Art Resources. We are a not for profit educational resource. Now, we want to talk about a book today called Buddhist Pilgrim-Monks as Agents of Cultural and Artistic Transmission. And it's actually by Dorothy Wong, and it's published out of the National University of Singapore. It was in 2018. I think it was republished again in 2023 because they obviously did two small book run. Now, what this book is about is what they're calling the International Buddhist Art Style in East Asia, circa 645 to 770. Now, this is really, really important for understanding the transmission of Buddhist art from India through China and then to Japan. Now, the publication has three parts. The first part is, and I know I'm going to brutalize the name, but Xuanzang. So it's part one is Xuanzang and his fellow Buddhist pilgrims and missionaries, 645 to 710. Now, for those of you that don't know, Xuanzang is the Chinese monk who went to India, I think for like 15 years, and collected hundreds of texts and brought them back to China and spent the remainder of his life translating them. Now, what a lot of you don't know is that Xuanzang comes from, oh goodness, I'm not sure which province in China, but sitting here in Chengdu right now, I can tell you the 20-minute walk from where I am right now is a very modern shopping center called Taikuli. And there used to be a very large temple monastery complex that was destroyed during the Cultural Revolution. Now, in the rebuilding of this shopping mall, they actually rebuilt a temple there. So there's a temple, again, where a temple stood, and that temple had stood there since the 6th, 7th century. And the temple, 20-minute walk from where I am right now, is where Xuanzang took his final monastic vows, his full bhikshu ordination. So Xuanzang is very much connected with Chengdu and Sichuan, as well as a very important figure, especially because of his kind of a diary, his annals of the history of Buddhist China in the 7th, 8th century. And this has been translated into many, many different languages. English, I read this, I think, when I was a teenager. So it's a long time ago. So anyway, Xuanzang is part one. And then we have two chapters there. And he's talking about, Dorothy Wong is talking about image-making activities, book production, and then the genesis of the bejeweled Buddha in earth-touching gesture. Now, part two is Doji and his contemporaries, and that's 710 to 745. Now, I'm not sure who this Doji is, and I'm not sure if Doji here is a Chinese name or it's a corruption of Dorje, or Doje could also mean fermented soybeans in Beijing. So I don't know. Really, I'm not familiar, and I've not thoroughly gone through this publication. I've actually really only skimmed it because to see its value, and I really think it has a lot of importance here. So part three is the completion of Todaji and Genshen's travels to Japan, 745 to 770, and it has to do with the art of the Avatamsaka Buddhism at the courts, the royal courts, and other issues, other things. And then there's a conclusion as well. So, but this is a very important part of history when it comes to art and how art moved from India, Afghanistan, Central Asia, through China and then to Japan. So this book is really of some importance for art historians and scholars and those of you who have a serious interest in the matter. So we'll leave it there. You can press like, you can subscribe, you can join Horror on Patreon for longer videos, book reviews, iconography, some religious context, auction house commentary, etc. Or you can make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.